Morning, guys. Today we are continuing with the portion from where we left off, actually, which we was some theory sections, right? So, and we did a little bit problems also. Now here also we'll do some continuation of vectors itself. First is position vector. Right. So what do you mean position vector? See, when a body is moving on a plane, that body will be having both x and y coordinates, right? So suppose I say an object was here, it was in the origin, so its position I will write in x to y coordinate, right? And when he moves from here to here, let's say it is 2 meter away, then I will write 2 0 because he is not displaced in y direction, right? Now when similarly if our body was here, right, again that is origin, and he is moving 2 meter in this direction, right? So I will write, say this is 2 meter, right? This point will be 0 2 because he has displaced in which direction? In y direction. This is how you write. Now similarly if I write for xy direction like this is x and this y, and I say he is displaced in from origin and he's reached the point in 2 2. What does it mean? That is, now his position is at the 2 2 means, that means he has displaced in both x direction and y direction respectively by 2 meters. That is, he has moved from this direction. Clear? Let's say it is a car. The car has moved in this direction when I was considering this plane. This plane has only two coordinates, x coordinate and y coordinate. The object has moved from this point to this point. Let's say this is a paper, right? The edges are becoming x and y plane, and there was a particle here, it moved and reached here, and that means if this is now the current new position of the particle, say p, then that object has moved both in x-axis and y-axis by 2 meters, right? So that means that p I can write in a vector form as what? 2i plus 2j, right? I have told you about it. Clear? Now I hope you understood it. Clear? So this representation which we done, right, this o, let's say this is o, this o to p is a motion, right? So similarly I am writing here, this is x-axis, y-axis, right? So when an object's position is mentioned like this, he is moving from origin and he reached the position p, then this vector which I have currently known is called position vector, and it is represented by r. If the point here is 3 and 4, then I will write r vector is equal to 3i plus 4j cap, right? Then this p vector, that is op vector here, is also a position vector, which is 2i plus 3j vector. I hope it is clear. That is, similarly this graph, if I consider another, let's say here it is 1, here also it is 1, that means this point is having another position vector, let's say r vector, right? This is another point, let's say this is p, this is p1, then p1's point is what? 1 comma 1, then that position vector r1 on the same line, right? R1 vector is written as 1 I cap plus 1 j cap. Similarly, you can, along one position vector itself, you can write a multiple position because position can change. Clear? Right? Now, suppose the man is moving in a curvy path. This is a straight, what we taught now is a straight section, right? Now, let's say he is moving in a straight path. Right? Let's take another axis. Yeah, now this is x and this is y. Alright, let's say the man is moving in a curvy path like this. Let's say this point p1 is his initial point and this is p2, which is his final point, right? So for this position p1, he might be having coordinate x1 y1, right? This is x1, this is y1, right? Similarly for p2 also, he will be having x2 and corresponding y2. Yeah, right? Now I'm going to, I hope you understood. Now I'm going to remove the coordinate section, right? Now for p1, I can draw a position vector like this from origin to P1. I'll draw with another color, this overlapping. Right? This is R1 vector. Clear? Now I have from origin another position vector like this. This is R2 vector. Right? R1 vector is the vector for position OP1. R2 vector is for OP2. Clear? Now, how would I show the displacement? How would I show the displacement? That means initial position was P1 and final position is P2. Then obviously I have to draw a line like this. So this line, right? This one which I have made dark, this indicates the displacement of the object from P1 to P2. Right, is the line joining the initial and the final point. And this is written by delta R vector. That is displacement. Right. P1's coordinate I hope you understood. So I can write R1 vector. Its coordinate is x1, y1. Right. So R1 vector I will write x1 I cap plus y1 j cap. Right. Similarly, R2 vector I can write as what? X2 I cap plus y2 j cap. Clear? Alright. So I hope this means can be understood. Now I'm going to draw this triangle separately, guys. It looks like this. Right. So this is delta R. This is R1. This is R2. Right. Now let's take the triangle law. See, this two vector, that is R1 and delta R, is in the same direction, but R2 is in the opposite direction. Right. The schematic has changed. See, if I had actually drawn, it would be like this, and then it is supposed to go like this, right? But instead of that, we marked it like this, means I can say R2 is the resultant of R1 and delta R. Remember our triangular law. So I can write R1 plus delta R vector is equal to R2 vector. Right? Or I can write delta R vector is equal to R2 minus R1 vector. This is how that section comes. So delta R, that is the displacement vector, is equal to second position vector minus first position vector, or final position vector minus initial position vector. Now let's substitute the value of R2 and R1, which we have written in the terms of x1 I cap and j cap. So delta R vector, in place of R2 I will write it as x2 I cap plus y2 j cap, right, minus x1 I cap plus y1 j cap. So keep only I vectors or I cap vectors common, so it becomes x2 minus x1 I cap plus y2 minus y1 j cap. Clear? So delta, so x2 minus x1 is change in x position, x change in position along x-axis. So I will write it as delta x I cap plus y2 minus y1 is change in position along y-axis. So I will write it as delta j. Right. So last formula, delta R is equal to delta x I cap plus delta y j cap. Clear? Now let's do a simple point putting from my side itself. See, you are having a vector, that is a position vector. Let's say the initial position, is given by 2i plus 3j plus 2k, and final position is given as 4i plus 2 was j, now I wrote j, 2j minus 3k cap. And you are asked, if this is the initial position, this is the final position, what is the displacement of the particle? Right, so how would you take? It is what? Difference of these two sections. that is final position minus initial position, right? So I will take 4 minus 2 I cap, right? I caps, that is delta xi plus delta yi, sorry, delta yj cap. So what is delta yj cap? That is y2 minus y1, that is 2 minus 3 j cap plus, now z section is what? Minus of the z2, right? Just like x, y, I can also take z. It's a plane section, right? So there are 3 coordinates actually. So z is, or delta z is z2 minus z1, right? So z2 minus z1 is minus 3 minus 2 k cap, right? Similarly, 4 minus 2 is 2 I cap plus 2 minus 3 is minus 1 j cap, right? Then minus 3 minus 2 is minus 5 k cap, right? So I can write it as, let's rub here, it is 2 I cap minus j cap minus 5 k cap. If you are asked what is the magnitude, yeah, of the displacement, that means you will take ax squared, right? That is 2 squared plus minus 1 squared plus minus 5 squared. So it will be 4 plus 1, that is 5, 5 plus 25, right? So root 30. That will be the magnitude of the resultant of, so magnitude of displacement. Clear? Right. I hope you understood it. Clear. Now, sometimes initial point might be given as just in this form. See, if you are asked the initial point is 3, 2 and it reaches the final point 4, 6. So how do you write? This form has to be written in vector, that is 3i plus 2j in examination. This has to be written as 4i plus 6j, and you will do, this is r2, this is r1 vector, right? This is r1 vector, this is r2 vector, r2 minus r1, I will take 4 minus 3 is I cap plus 6 minus 2 is 4j cap, right? And you will write this straight away answer. But don't go for this section in your NEET examination. NEET examination just minus 4 minus 3, 1, that is I, plus 6 minus 2, 4, straight away write. But in school examination, steps are required. Clear? So keep that in mind. Clear? Now, if you are asked average velocity, right? Velocity, in this you are going to take about average velocity. Velocity, there are 2 subtopics. In velocity, there is average velocity, and after that you have to talk about instantaneous velocity. So this and all you will study in detail depending upon the graphical representation. Yeah, okay. Suppose you are having graph, this exact graph, this is the exact explanation that is supposed to be in your textbook, but I saw the textbook for a lot of years I have seen, but the explanation is not proper. You will not be able to understand just by reading the textbook. That's why I'm going to take it properly. I'm sorry guys, my phone just pinged. I think it's twice now. Okay, now let's draw the graph of change in position of an object or his motion, right? Right, this is a displacement time. This is not a displacement time graph. This is x coordinate position, then this is y coordinate. Don't mistake that. Usually it is just like this st graph, vt graph, right? So usually you take this as lt. No, it is just change in position with not with respect to something. You are just showing change in position in x and y direction. Clear? So sorry, it's not rubbing. Let's make now. This is our graphical representation. Takes another one. Okay, let's say this okay is his first position. This P2 is his final position. So just like the previous one, you will draw 2 position vectors. This is R1 vector. This is R2 vector. Just like the previous one. Then he is changing position from P1 to P2. This is the delta R vector, that is the displacement, right? So how would you write average velocity, guys? Average velocity, it is represented by V dash, right? This is a symbol of, that is, there is no arrow, right? It's just a symbol dash. This V average is total displacement by total time. You know the equation, right? So usually total displacement is how much is for the graph, it is delta r, and total time change, let's say it is delta t, right? So velocity, so this is the equation, proper equation for what? Average velocity, simple, right? Oh, sorry, I wrote an arrow, right? This is average velocity. I have not expanded it, we have just started. Okay, now what is the direction of the direction of average velocity? If someone asks you what is the direction of velocity, graphically means velocity has the direction same as that of the displacement. So I will draw it as in the red color itself. So this is the direction of displacement, right? So the velocity also will have the same direction, that is here. This is the direction of average velocity. Keep that in mind. Average velocity has the same direction as that of the displacement. Clear? Now we are going back with the magnitude section. Now how did we write delta r in the previous case? It is delta xi, right? Change in position along x-axis plus change in position into y-axis into j cap divided by delta t, right? I'm going to give delta t for each term, that is delta x by delta t I cap plus delta y by delta t j cap, right? Now what do you mean by change in position in x direction by time? That is velocity in x direction, plus change in displacement in y direction by time is average, right? Sorry, average velocity in x direction, average velocity in y direction with respect to j. Clear? See, average velocity is change in displacement by change in time. Similarly, then average delta x by delta t is what? Change in x distance by change in time. So that is the average velocity in x direction. So I will write this Vx as this form, that is average velocity, total velocity is equal to average velocity in x direction plus average velocity in y direction. You need not go for this much things, you know, you can write in this form, right? But I'm just explaining how it came, and this graphical representation you cannot understand by in textbook, right? Now how would I write the magnitude of this velocity? Average velocity, it is root of Vx squared plus Vs squared. You have learned it. For any vector you can write it like this. Now what is the direction you are asked? So you will write tan theta is equal to Vy by Vx, right? See this, if you are forming a triangle like this, so this is Vy, this is Vx, and this is theta, right? Clear? So you are asked tan theta, yeah, this is net, sorry, right, net V. So your third, this side becomes your net average, yeah? So tan theta is equal to Vy by Vx, or I can write theta is equal to tan inverse Vy by Vx. Clear? Now the next section we are going to start is, now today with this video I will cover equivalent of our theory as well as problem. Okay. The next section be all the velocities, instantaneous velocity, right? What is instantaneous velocity? Like this. I hope you heard the sound, that, right? So what velocity is happening, or velocity at an instant of time, is known as instantaneous velocity. That is, you cannot actually calculate the time, that much short the time is. Or I can say instantaneous velocity is that velocity when average velocity is happening when the time is approaching zero. It is not exactly zero. Or average velocity when the time is approaching zero is said to be instantaneous velocity. Or I can say when the time interval is tending to be zero. Clear? So average velocity is what? It is delta r by delta t, just like the previous section. So when I say it is tending to zero, it is usually written in maths as limit when delta t tends to 0, delta r by delta t becomes our instantaneous velocity. Clear? As per the definition. Clear? Limit delta t tends to 0, delta r by t, and this is actually mathematically expressed as differentiation of dr by dt, that much small. So that's why some of the time I will usually some guys say dr is equivalent to delta r, but it is not delta r. Dr is much less than delta r. Keep that in mind, right? Clear? So instantaneous velocity equation is dr by dt. Clear? Right. Now what is the direction? Just like the previous case, if you are asked what is the direction of instantaneous velocity, then keep that in mind. It is tangential to the path at the particular point and in the direction of motion. Right? So what is the direction? Instantaneous direction is tangential to the path at the point and in the direction of motion. I hope you didn't understand. I'll just give you an example. Ouch. Let me take another graph. Okay, this is our y-axis. This is our x-axis. Suppose he is moving like this, right? And I'm going to take this as position, right? So at this position, you are asked the instantaneous velocity. That is, what will be the instantaneous velocity when a car is at the position P. So how would you draw? You have to draw a tangential to the path. Tangential to the path means what is the path? This is the path, right? Let's take another color. This is the path, guys, right? And you have to draw tangential to the path, right? And that tangent should be in the direction of motion. So how would I draw? I'll take another color. Like this. See, this is tangential to the path. Yes, it is in the direction of motion. The motion is in the direction. Obviously, it is in the direction of motion. So this gives the instantaneous velocity at point P. Clear? Right? This gives the direction of instantaneous velocity at the point P. Clear? Keep that in mind. Now, in order to understand instantaneous velocity concept, it is better I use 3 figures. Right? Ouch. Many messages comes here. No other way. Let's stay. I'm using different colors today. Aha, this line came straight now. Hope I can draw the same type of straight line for the next figure. I don't know why it is very difficult to draw straight lines in mobile. Let's say the path is like this. This P1 is his initial position. P2 here is his final position. Right? Now I have to take another color. I could have drawn 3 axes first itself now. So lazy. You have x and y axis. Congested, huh? Okay. Ouch. I have to draw the same type of curve in every, because it is different for ouch. I hope it looks like the same graph, guys. It is the same graphs, okay? Even if it doesn't look, I want to, the figure is there in your textbook, man, right? Anyways, so initially we are going to consider the first condition, right? So initially, obviously, I have to take what position vectors. So what is the position vector here? This is r1, this is r2 vector, and this is delta r vector. And what is the direction of average velocity? Average velocity is the same direction as that of the displacement. So this is our average velocity. This much clear? And I told you that here the average velocity is large, because here time duration we are considering. Here the initial time is here, and here the initial time is when it reaches the point P2. So I am having the time interval large. Now in order to find the instantaneous velocity, I have to reduce the time interval, right? So we will first take the average velocity of the time taken, has to be decreased, right? This is, I hope you understood. So for the first figure, where I hope you understood the average velocity direction, and from here I am going to reduce the distance. Clear? Right. So next condition, I'm not writing anything guys because it doesn't have anything to write. Same, I am indicating this is P1. Now P2 I'm going to reduce here P2, right? So this is becoming R1, this thing becoming R2, and this becomes delta R, right? I have not written. So this becomes average velocity, right? Don't put an arrow here. So that becomes average velocity direction. Clear? Right. Now what happens? Now again I have reduced the time interval, right? And I draw the average velocity. Again, what is the definition for instantaneous velocity? It is the average velocity itself when the time duration is very, very close to 0. So I have to take the average velocity itself. Just the time duration has to be changed. So now again the position is P1. Now P2 is so close that I cannot even mark it in the graph. So this R1 becomes his position. Then R2's position graph will be also along the same line itself because it is not easy to be solved. Now for P1 to P2, if I draw a delta R, it will be in this direction, right? And samely I can say average velocity is in the same direction. So this is the direction of average velocity. So what and all condition I have done? I have reduced the time interval in such a way that it has approached 0. So velocity, average velocity, when the time approaches 0, this average velocity is known as instantaneous velocity. Clear? Right? Now if you are asked to, this is pictorial representation, you have understood about the instantaneous velocity. Now when someone asks you to write it in the component forms, how would you do it? So write component form, heading of instantaneous velocity. Okay, so what is instantaneous velocity? Write it as V insta is equal to dr by dt. I'm sorry guys, I'm using multiple color because it takes time to change color. It is better to use only for graphical representation. So last color which I use for the graphical representation will be continued for the next writing system. So limit, so what is dr by dt? It is limit t tends to 0 delta r by delta t. You have learned earlier, right? So I'm going to write limit delta t tends to 0. Delta r I can write it as delta xi, that is change in position in x, plus change in position in y j cap, divided by delta t, right? Now I'm going to give t for both the sections. So it becomes limit delta t tends to 0 delta xi cap by delta t, plus limit delta t tends to 0 delta y j cap by delta t, right? Clear? So what do you mean by limit delta t tends to 0 delta xi by delta t? It gives you instantaneous velocity, right? Instantaneous velocity in x direction, right? The change in position in x direction by time, right? That is your average velocity, right, in x direction. When its velocity's time rate tends to 0, that becomes instantaneous velocity. So it becomes vxi plus vy j cap. That is expression for instantaneous velocity. Clear? And how would you write its magnitude? Root of vx squared plus vy squared, right? And what will be theta? Tan inverse vy by vx. Clear? Simple, right? Now moving on, the next topic which this is entirely theoretical section guys, but it is very important that you understand the logic of it. Ouch. Oh, you can do like this, huh? Double click, then I can move wherever I want. I just found something. Now what was I doing? Okay, average acceleration. Average acceleration. See, I am writing with short forms. Don't write like this in the short form in your note nor in your examination. You will not get marks, guys. This is just because I'm very lazy to write the entire thing. So average acceleration is, what is its definition? Ratio of change in velocity of a body to time taken, right? So I would write it as ratio of change in velocity by time taken. This is how you write. Or I can write this as delta Vx I cap plus Vy j cap. We just have written it divided by delta t. Now I give delta t for both the guys. So it becomes delta Vx I cap by delta t plus delta Vy, delta Vy delta t j cap, right? Now what is change in velocity in x direction by time, change in time? That is acceleration in x direction plus acceleration in y direction in j cap. That is your average acceleration. Now we are asked what is the magnitude? It is root of ax squared plus ay squared. And what is theta? It is ay by ax tan inverse. Yeah, the same as that of the previous one, guys. That is in the case of velocity. You are just changing it into acceleration term, right? And if you are asked what is the direction of acceleration, average acceleration, then the direction is same as that of the change in instantaneous velocity. Change in instantaneous velocity. That is the direction of average acceleration, right? I will tell you with example, guys. Right, let's take out a graph, right? X and Y, I'm not writing it. I hope you know. This is his position. So this is P1, his initial position, and P2 say his final position, right? So P1 tangential like this, right? And here P2 like this. Right, so tangential at v1 will be instantaneous velocity here v1, let's say instantaneous velocity v2 here, right? Clear? Now how will I know the change in velocity direction? That is v2 minus v1. That's how you are supposed to find, right? So head to tail method, or you can use tail to tail method. Or yeah, it's better. Okay, let's say I'm going to draw it like this. This is v2 vector, right? So what I want is, before that I will make you understand what is change in velocity. That is the direction, right? That means I have to find delta v. I know it is v2 minus v1, right? So that means I can write it as v2 plus minus v1, right? Clear? I just require the direction, guys. So I know it is along the change in velocity. So change in velocity is final velocity minus initial velocity. So I will write it as v2 plus minus v1. I first thought we could, no, I could explain it with the graph itself, but I don't think I can, because it will be very complicated. So this is much more simpler with the method you have already learned. So what is V2's figure? Like this. What is the triangular method? I have to inverse E1. This is the direction of V1, right? So this will be minus V1, right? So I will take like this. This is minus V1, right? Clear? So this become minus v1, head to tail method. Now I have to join these two guys, right? And what will be the direction? Like this, and supposed to go in this direction. So I have to draw in opposite direction. So this is the direction of delta v. So this will become delta v, right? Delta v is the resultant of subtraction of v2 and v1. This is how you do. So delta v has a direction like this. So same direction will be the average acceleration, or I can write a bar. Clear? This and all is not at all explained in your physics textbook. Okay, that's why I'm explaining, tediously taking time and explain. I could have just drawn it, but I don't think that is the proper way. Clear? Next is instantaneous acceleration, right? Instantaneous acceleration is average acceleration when it is having the condition such that time is approaching, a change in time is approaching 0. So acceleration is actually limit delta t tends to 0 average acceleration, right? Clear? So I can write it as limit delta t tends to 0 delta v by delta t, or I can write it as dv by dt, just like the previous case, instantaneous velocity, right? Just like the previous instantaneous velocity, again here I will draw 3 graphs. I can use another color now. Ouch. Okay, sorry. Oh, the first one was proper line. This one is okay. Not okay, but don't have time. Okay, comes in the straight line. Okay, it's okay. Now we have a graph like this. Ouch, looks so odd. My hand just shook. Same I have to break. Oh, it's okay. Ouch. Oh, it's okay. Three of them have to look similar. Hope you understood. Okay. Now we are taking two position. Oh, this cannot. It doesn't look now. This color is very odd. Okay, change the color. No, no. This is size. This is maximum. Ah, this one. Ah, yeah. P1. Ah, it's okay. P2. Brush size increase. Sorry guys, I'm taking a lot of time here. Right now, need not write the position vectors. Why? Because here P1's instantaneous velocity is have what? Tangential like this. This direction you have learned about it, right? So this is V1. Now for position V2, the instantaneous velocity Vt. Like this. Just like the previous case, you have to find what? V2 minus V1. So I drew this is V2, right? V1 I have to reverse, means it will be in this direction. So see, it is very difficult to draw like that now. Let's see another. Let's make a change. I'm going to take V2 like this. Let's take a steeper one, right? And V1 minus V1 is in this direction. So delta V is in this direction. So I can say this is delta V's direction. So this will be average acceleration. Clear? Now here I'm going to reduce time interval, means suppose P1 is initial interval, position means P2 will be here itself, right? So if I draw the tangential instantaneous velocity, this becomes V1 and V2 will be in this direction, right? So again you construct, this is V2, V1 will be in this direction, so in here, so close, so delta V will be in this direction, so delta V in this direction, so acceleration, average acceleration now in this direction. Now again I have taken position P1 here. Now the time interval is reduced so close that is time is not equal to 0 but very close to 0, that you cannot draw the second position P2. So at the P1 itself I will draw a tangential and acceleration will appear what? Like a perpendicular, right? So this becomes acceleration. This average acceleration when the time interval is 0 is known as instantaneous acceleration. Clear? Right? Now if someone asks you to depict it in a formula form, that is average acceleration is equal to limit delta t tends to 0, what? Delta v by delta t, right? So I can write, oh, I could have changed the color now, sorry guys, because looks like very light. So delta t tends to 0, delta vx I cap plus delta vy j cap whole divided by delta t. I can write v in this form, right? Similarly, limit delta tends to 0, delta vx by delta t I cap plus limit delta t tends to 0, delta vy j cap divided by delta t. Now what is change in velocity in x direction by change in time when it is approaching, time is approaching time 0? It is instantaneous acceleration in I direction or x direction plus instantaneous acceleration in y direction, right? Clear? This is your instantaneous acceleration equation. Now how is the magnitude written? It is root of ax squared plus ay squared, and what is t term? Tan inverse ay by ax. Clear? Right. Okay guys, we'll start with the problem now. Actually this problem is based on the things which you have been taught till now. There is only a small, very small portion which is pending with the vector section as it is, right, in that topic section completely, right. And this question is a part of it, and one of the question is already been done in your textbook worked one. All right, worked out one has been present. So after looking at this question, you guys can try to do the question in your book. Lightly different it is, but concept you would understand. Okay, now you would think that I could have completed this small portion, but I believe at least 2 or 3 problems should be there. If the time is allowed, at least I will do one question. One question I have already done in the first section, right? And 2 questions will be there. Let's do, right? The question again, the topic is usually taken as rain problems. Okay, it's actually a special case because a lot of years that this question was repeatedly asked. Just the numerical section will be changed. Okay, now the rain is falling just vertically, right? This is the road on which a bicycle, right, a person is riding. I hope cyclist so large about, and another person, passenger, is there. When the rain started to fall, this person A asked the person B to hold an umbrella so that both are not wet, right? Question is in which direction he has to hold. So you will say, oh, this is the common sense. If the rain is falling like this, and let's say rain is falling at 40 km per hour and the cycle is moving at 30 km per hour, let's say it's a bike, right? 30 km/h is better for bike now, I don't know. Okay, let's say it's a vehicle, it is moving 30 km/h. Common sense you will know, in order to have no, so that you are not wet, you will hold the umbrella in this direction, right? So you know in your intelligence level that you are holding the umbrella in this direction because you will feel the rain coming in this direction when you are going in the forward direction. You know it has been experienced by you guys in your entire life system, right? So actually this can be explained to you by relative velocity, etc. But I think it is better to explain you guys with common sense, right? So that means first I have to know in which direction the rain will be felt by B, and against that direction I will hold the umbrella, right? Actually you are asked what is the angle, okay, in which angle you have to hold the umbrella. We are holding the umbrella in this direction, so what is the angle it is making with the vertical? Clear? This is actually the question will be, but I'm just telling you. Okay, now how would you solve it? So this man, let's say A and B, let's say A and B are, just take this as a single unit itself. A will feel the rain coming in this direction. Since he is moving in this direction, he will feel wind coming in back direction. See, right? Common sense. Have you ever felt it? When you are going forward, you will feel that air is pushing you, right? Every action has an opposite reaction. So air will be acting in this direction. Clear? So this person is acted by rain in downward direction and air in this direction, that is in this direction, right? So the resultant rain which he will be feeling, the rain will be obstructed by this wind also, right? Clear? That's why see, it is a heavy rain, right? And there is a total wind in this direction, means the rain will bend in this direction. Common sense, right? Clear? I have repeatedly telling common sense means you have to have the presence of time. It's not that you guys are not having common sense. You guys have got good scores in your 10th examination. Obviously you guys are intelligent. Okay, so this person will feel air is feeling in 30 km in this direction and 40 km in downward direction. Now let us draw it vectorially. So ouch, this okay, I was going to make a mistake, guys, sorry, right? So rain's direction downwards, so this will be 40 km/h, right? 30 km/h is wind. this is wind velocity, this is your rain velocity, right? So you will experience the rain velocity. It's not actually, right, this is rain velocity experienced by the man. It will be in this direction, right? So you will hold the umbrella in this direction against it. Clear? Simple. So you now have got the answer, guys. So this is 40, right? This one is 40, this is 30, right? Same as this one. So what will be this resultant? It will be 50, root of 30 squared plus 40 squared. So the resultant velocity of, that is 40 kilometer and 30 kilometer, this will contribute a 50 kilometer per hour speed on you. That is, it is painful for you. You had not moving, right? You had standing stagnantly. You would have experienced only 40 kilometer per hour of rain only. But now you are speeding. That means you are going to have a much more pain. That's a joke, okay? Not a joke, it's a true thing. I just want to make you realize of the severity. So don't feel that there's a heavy rain. It is easy to dry. It's very painful. Okay, so 50 kilometer per hour is the velocity of rain which you will be experiencing, or the man will be experiencing. That is, I hope wrote it as VRF. Right now you are asked this theta, so you just have to find this theta. It will be same, right? So theta is equal to tan theta is equal to 30 by 40. Write this by this, or I can write 3 by 4, or theta is equal to tan inverse 3 by 4. Tan inverse 3 by 4 is 37 degree. Keep that in mind. Clear? Right? And tan inverse 4 by 3 is 53 degree. That also keep it in mind. Right? So resultant velocity he will be experiencing is 50 meter per second, and the angle with which the umbrella should be kept is 37 degree.